Hello there, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Lone Crown Show. And we have reached episode 100, and holy crap, that's been a while, and almost 2 years now, so I'm happy about that. And today, I've brought on the second half of the duo, that is Chris and Ciara, and it is Ciara. Welcome.
Hello, thank you. I feel very special because I'm like your 100th episode.
Yeah, and that you can say to Chris, oh yeah, I was episode 100. And
Like, yeah, whatever. You were on Crown's podcast first, but I was like episode 100, which is like obviously more important, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
So it's very nice to speak to you because it's one of those weird things where you talk to people on Twitter the whole time,
Yeah.
but then you don't talk to them in real life, and it's always really weird. But I don't think this is weird at all. I feel like I kind
No,
of know you.
I think since we've talked so much, like
Yeah.
on Twitter and all of that for quite a while, you
Yeah.
you know the person and
Yeah, it's kind of it's kind of like, because sometimes I'm walking through the streets of Dublin and I'll recognize someone and they'll look at me and I look at them
Yeah.
and we'll kind of walk by each other and I'll go, God, do I know them? Did I meet them on a night out? Like, you know, and then it kind of dawns on me later on, oh, I actually have talked to them on Twitter. Isn't it so strange how you can talk to somebody on Twitter yet
Yeah.
walk by them on the street, you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
I can also. I think I would look. I'd look different depending on like what I'm wearing. So
Yeah, no, everybody looks different. Nobody looks like what they look like on the internet. Do
yeah,
you know that
especially
sort of
when
way?
I wear some like a hat or something during the winter and stuff like that. Like I
Exactly.
don't look at all like if
No.
I don't wear one, or if I wear sunglasses, or like it's just different.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that everybody probably puts their best photos up as well on Twitter. Or,
Yeah,
you know?
I don't really care.
Yeah.
Like
Well-
I have so many different photos on Twitter. Okay, I will take loads more because usually my photos end up being either shaky or like just plain weird. So
Yeah,
so
I hate taking selfies. I absolutely hate taking selfies. And I only kind of started taking selfies in the past year because everyone was taking selfies, you know, and I ended up like deleting like 20 selfies off my phone going, no, I'm not putting that up. That's just ridiculous, you know?
I'm so
And I was walking down to the shops today as well,
Yeah.
and it was one of those days where I was like, oh God, I really hope I don't meet anybody from work because nobody recognizes me, you know, because I was like, my hair bundled on top of my head, scarf wrapped around me, like, you know, just having one of those days where I had to do like so much. And
Yeah.
It was just like, yeah, I don't want to meet or talk to anybody today.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been caring much more how I look the older I get. I don't know why. Or I would make an effort a lot more, I would
Yeah.
say. I used to not like the way because I'm the type of person that looks really young, and like now it's okay because like I can grow a little bit beard and that sort of stuff. So at least
Yeah.
I kind of look more like my age.
Yeah,
So
my problem is, Crown, I can't grow a beard.
Yeah.
So, and also I would be very happy if I looked younger than I actually was. You know, that sort of
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
So take it as a good thing.
Yeah, I
seriously.
know. Everyone's always like when I was like 20 and something, and I look like I'm 16, and everyone's like, "Oh, you're gonna love this when you're 30." I'm like, "Yes,
Exactly.
but that's 10 years away."
I
Like,
know. I think that it's harder for people to be taken seriously if they look a lot younger
Yeah.
than they actually are.
Yeah,
which
that-
I imagine is pretty frustrating for
Yes,
somebody
yes.
who really wants to get their ideas or their thoughts across. I think that's the only downfall. Or
Yeah.
else like going into an off license and asking for alcohol. Chris always gets asked for ID.
Yeah,
And I find it hilarious.
I always picks up my ID straight away because I know they're gonna ask me anyway, so I'm not even gonna like.
Crown, the last time I was asked for ID was when I was in America, and my
Oh.
father also got asked for ID, so I didn't
Oh.
feel special. Do you know that straight away? And my
Yeah.
dad is in his 50s.
Yeah.
I was so excited because for the first time in so long, I was asked for my ID. I was like, yes, of course. Here you go. Would you like to see my passport?
Yeah.
Here's my driver's license, you know? And then when my dad got asked as well, I was like, well, this is shit, you know? But anyway.
Yeah, I mean here in Sweden they're quite more strict, so they're straight up because they don't want to be like, oh, we're looking down on people that's younger. No, we're gonna card people that like looks up to their like 25, 26. So even those type of people will get carded. So I feel like it's just to don't discriminate those people that do look younger.
Yeah, do you know what I think? I think the Scandinavian, and this is something that I've always said on the show as well, and this is something that I want to ask you. I really think that Sweden and Denmark and Norway have it down in a lot of ways. And when I mean that, when I say that, I mean like, I don't know, government-wise, like certain articles I come across, like men and women are given time. I don't know, was this in Denmark or Sweden actually? Men and women are given time to time away from their kids.
Yeah,
so their kids are put into a nursery, and parents have got me time. And I think the thing about
you can do that. I like that. That's what a lot of like they, at least here in Sweden, they want you to have your kids at the nursery and that sort of stuff, because it's good for the children. Plus they're like, we call it more like preschool nowadays. Like kindergarten is more like preschool, because they actually already start like learning stuff like letters, or like just have put time to start learning the kids already, but in a fun way for like the kids.
No, it's awesome. And I've never been to Norway, I've never been to Sweden, I've never been to Denmark. It's kind of one of those things on my bucket list, you know.
Yeah.
I'd love to go to Norway or Finland and see the Aurora Borealis, you know. And everyone's like, why do you want to go the whole way to Sweden or Norway when like you can see them off the coast of Donegal, you know? But I came across this article once on these, like, they're kind of like igloos, right?
Yeah.
They're like little rooms, and they're igloos, and the roof opens up, so you can stay in these igloos, but you can look at the sky at night.
Yeah, like
I came
it's
across
a
that
famous
photo.
place here in
I came
Northern.
across that photo like 5 years ago, and I was like, I am going to go to there. You
Yeah.
know, and I've saved that photo on my computer, and I was like, I don't know when, I don't know how, but I'm gonna go and I'm gonna stay in one of those cool. It'll probably cost me basically most of my life savings, but and it'll probably be the night where you can't see the Northern Lights.
Yeah.
You know.
Interesting. When I was in England last time, they actually had. I think you could win. Like there was not when we went on vacation in Gran Canaria, and they had like they had different channels. So I hit I don't know which English channel it was, but some English channel, and they had like an ad for like you could win a trip to northern Sweden and stay at at the igloos and that sort of stuff. They rebuild it every year, so like. It will be unique every year if you go to certain place. Like
that's incredible.
Yeah, because like summer and stuff like that hits, and you can't really keep an igloo all year around.
No, not really. I'd imagine that's pretty difficult, in fairness.
Yeah.
And Cren, have you ever been to Ireland, or have you ever thought about coming to Ireland?
I thought about it more and more, especially now that like I didn't really think much about Ireland until I started watching Chris and Peter's show.
Oh, yeah. So. Well, you know, maybe they're not the best example.
No, I wasn't. But I wasn't like even thinking about Ireland, sort of. So, but then I followed their stuff, and then I started listening to your radio.
God,
for that.
Tourism Ireland should get on to Peter and Chris, the two most unlikely people to promote Ireland. But isn't that brilliant? You know what I mean? Yeah.
And I actually only listened to you in iRadio like once or twice, and it was funny because you had the Galway player on.
Oh, okay. Look.
I thought
the bane of my life, Cram.
I thought it was so funny when you started up again, and like when you moved to RTÉ, and you were like, no, not having him on again. And I thought it was like, for me it was a little bit nostalgic because I listened to you first time with Galway players. I thought it was little bit hilarious.
Yeah, no, people get a good kick out of the fact that myself and Galway player seem to have this mutual distaste for each other, you know. And I think what rises me more is when Chris just, for whatever reason, on that particular slot on a Thursday when the Galway player comes on, and I think he does it on purpose just to rise me. He always sides with the Galway player. Chris is nothing like the Galway player. Chris is so much nicer, and he's such more of a gentleman. And then when he sides with the Galway player, I'm like sitting across from him going, "What are you doing? Like, what are you doing?" So Thursdays on the show are very stressful for me.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I have no personal issue with the Galway player. He can be whoever he wants to be. Like the problem is when you're a person that gives out advice, you're gonna get flamed because
completely.
It's expected to.
Yeah, no, completely. And sure, look, wouldn't it be really boring if everybody agreed with everybody?
Yeah, exactly. And I still think he brings an interesting perspective. And sometimes he can make a little bit sense. So.
Sometimes. Now, Crown, it's rare, but sometimes. But anyway. And you know what? I think that girls all go through a stage in their life where they're into lads like the Galway player.
Yeah.
And I think that you have to be maybe into somebody. This is kind of my philosophy on life. You have to be maybe into somebody like the Galway player for a while to realize that is not the person that you want to spend the rest of your days with.
Yeah, but I also at some stages think he puts on a little bit of a show as well.
Oh, completely. I'm sorry. Like there's no way that he's scoring as much as he's saying he's scoring, you know. But anyway.
Yeah, maybe he's lucky with extremely good looks. I don't know.
Anyway, you're not like the Galway player, Crown.
No, I'm way too nice.
Good. No, that's a good thing, by the way. And I think that a lot of the time that everyone goes, "Oh, the nice guy always loses and the bad guy always wins."
Yeah,
let me tell you something from my life experience. That is not always the case, Crown.
No, I'm just way too picky.
You're too picky.
Yeah.
What's your type?
At this point, like I'm trying to like broaden my horizon. I'm just interested in people that's a bit interesting as general. Like I meet the most people I met are like, I don't know, way too plain. Like for me they're boring.
That's a bit harsh.
Yeah, but I can't help that. I think that's the way I look at things. Like, yeah, sure. Like other people are gonna be interested in that. The people that do everyday lives and don't do a lot of, I don't know, what I see as interesting things. So
okay, what do you see as interesting things?
Oh man.
So okay, let's say you meet a girl in a pub or whatever, and she's like, "Hi, I am a surgeon." Oh, what sort of surgeon? A brain surgeon. Would you find that interesting?
It's not about the like person being a brain surgeon. Like I never like see like a job defines who you are.
Not
like,
at all.
More as how you is as a person. I would more like see it. You like you need to be a little bit funny as a person. Like you need to have a bit of humor. So
you need a bit of life. That's what it's
exactly.
Called, yeah. No, I hear you.
Yeah, and also I don't like meet a lot of people nowadays because like the job I have and that sort of stuff. It doesn't really make for meeting a lot of new people and
Crown, let me tell you something. I've spent about 6 years with the one guy who I'm not in a relationship with. So go figure. And I spend the majority every night with him.
Yeah.
So I hear you 100%.
Yeah. So like when it comes to like how to meet new people, I'm always at a blank most of the time because like I could go out and like party a lot with friends and that sort of stuff, but I don't know. It never really generated me meeting someone that's sort of interesting to me.
No, I hear you. But you know what, Crown, you've plenty of time, and they always say, when you least expect it, that's what people are blue in the face saying to me. They're like, when you least expect it, Ciara, and I'm like, I'm like, jog on, whatever. I'm so sick and tired of hearing that, you know. But what do my friends say? My friends are like, oh, join a running club, or like join some club or something. And I'm like, yeah, but do you realize that I work nights? And a
Yeah.
lot of those clubs, you know, they happen in the evening when not, you know, when
Yeah.
I'm in work, you know. And you're right, I've done the whole going out and partying and all that sort of stuff. And
Yeah.
it gets tedious and it gets boring
Yeah.
after a while, you know.
Yeah,
And
I would just be like, I'm trying to figure out like stuff just to like meet new people. That was for, like when I were in unemployment. At least
yeah,
that thing was because they put you in like groups and that sort of stuff, and you at least you meet new people. Like,
yeah.
and I was almost like I got into like a school this autumn, and I was almost about to do it just so I could meet new people at
Okay.
and but like at the last point I was like, no, I can't just do this because like this is a 3 year course, and I like, it's better for someone who actually wants to do this.
Yeah,
Like,
no.
I don't want to be like that guy who is like, yeah, I'm just here to meet new people, and that's not who I am.
Yeah. And did you do a course after that, or?
No, directly afterwards, I decided that I would go to Canada and work for a year.
What is the story with Canada? Did I see you got approved for your visa?
No, they didn't release it, so
Oh no.
it
So
was
what does that mean?
supposed to release the visas this last Friday,
Okay.
but they didn't release it. So I just have to wait until they release it. They were supposed to release it in mid February,
Okay.
and then like they were supposed to be released this Friday, and now they're not. So I don't. They will.
Is this like normal procedure?
Well, I like, it shouldn't probably be delayed this much. I don't know why this is. It's like they're very strict, Canada,
Are they, yeah?
about the working holiday visas that they give out. So they just give a certain quantity because they don't want to have many people sort of taking their jobs.
Okay.
So that's how I see it, at least. But yeah, I don't know why it's getting delayed as much as it is. But yeah, so right now I have no idea when.
Yeah,
I
well, you
will
just
get-
have to, yeah, but when it comes to stuff like that, you just have to let it go and wait for it to come to you, do you know?
Yeah.
I don't want you to go to Canada at all. I think if you go to Canada, you won't listen to the show, you won't.
Well, I will listen to the show, but problem is I probably won't be able to listen to it live. Like,
Yeah,
I
Crown,
can-
do you stay up really late at night?
Yes, because I
Yeah.
have no reason to go up early. That's the main problem. Yeah, I do hang out with a couple of friends, but most of my friends are online these days, and most of them are from USA, and yeah, and almost everyone is from USA. So like, it's kind of, I kind of ended up on their time zone for the most part.
Okay. Well, I would suggest that you get some proper sleep.
Well,
and that's coming from someone who knows what it's like to be sleep deprived for the past
Well,
3.5 years now.
I'm not sleep deprived. That's not the problem. I do, but only thing is that like I sleep later, sort of.
Yeah, do you know what, Creme? The novelty of that just wears.
Yeah, that's
So
why
good.
I was going to change it back, but when I decided to go to Canada and stuff, then I was like, fuck it.
Yeah.
It's not long until I'm going, and then I will have a normal life schedule when I'm in Canada. So
Yeah, okay, well, that's fair enough then, so that's fair enough.
yeah, but now it has been delayed for so long. Like, made this decision like in February, so like, yeah, I didn't expect it to be delayed this long.
I know. Look, you'll get there. Do you know that sort of way?
Yeah. Or
You'll get there.
if everything like doesn't work out as intended or whatever, I'm going to go to Australia instead. So
Oh,
I'm
really?
going to go somewhere.
I don't know, should you go to Australia with that Scandinavian skin, Crown?
Well, I've been to Australia 4 times, so
And you survived, so.
yes.
What were you doing in Australia? 4 times?
Yes, my mother and I, we like, especially my mother, have always loved going to Australia.
Mhm.
So when I was like 10, 11 was the first time we went, and then we went like every 2 or 3 years again, because
Wow.
Australia is pretty huge and it's hard to like do everything in one go. So
Yeah.
that's
I've never been to Australia. I'm an Irish person who has never been to Australia, and I don't know will I ever go.
Yeah.
Dubai is the furthest that I've gone.
Okay.
But a lot of my friends were the year ahead of me in college, so they all went over to Australia for the year.
Yeah.
And I was finishing up college, and then I got a job, and then
Yeah.
kind of time just kind of ran out. And I don't know, it's a long old journey, and the longest I've ever done on a plane is like 8 hours. And at the end of it, I'm like, oh my God, I need to get off this plane. You know, that sort of way. So I don't know, could I genuinely sit in a plane for what, like 14 hours or something?
Yeah, but you
I
do
think I'd
get
go crazy. I think I'd be one of those girls that were like, you know, and a plane had to make an emergency landing in Texas, USA, where an Irish girl got, you know, air rage, and it would be me, the picture of me like ranting, walking up and down, you know. Seriously, I'm not joking. I get to this stage where I'm like, okay, I'm done now. I need to be able to get off this plane, you know.
I don't know. I don't feel like it's takes like that long. I don't know. I never had problem with doing long flights. It's just you like, yeah, it's hard to sleep a lot, but I mean you do sleep for a bit, and like you have 10 million things you can do with
oh my God,
movies,
right.
whatever. And
when I flew to Dubai there in October, it was amazing. It had literally the day that I flew, or the time that I flew, there wasn't that many flying from Dublin to Dubai. So I basically had the 3 seats beside me.
Oh, nice.
So I could throw my legs up. I flew with Emirates, okay?
Yeah.
And my God, if you ever get a chance to fly with Emirates. There's this button that you can press, and you can just keep on ordering wine.
Oh, damn.
Free.
Holy crap.
And it has like every single Walt Disney movie you have ever wished for in your whole entire life. So I spent my 7 hours drinking wine and watching Walt Disney movies. It was incredible.
Damn.
And also, I got to catch up on like a guilty pleasure of mine. Have you ever heard of Heart of Dixie?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like my guilty pleasure. It's like, I love it. I know that it is so corny. I know that it's so cheesy.
Yeah, I checked out a little bit the like first and second season, but
I love it. I just think it is absolutely and utterly, well, it's okay, like it's not like the most phenomenal TV program you've ever seen in your life, but there's just something about it that I'm like, oh my God, I love this, you know?
Yeah, well, she's pretty lovable.
Yes, it's Rachel Bison, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or Bilson or something like that.
Yeah,
she was in the OC.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was in the OC. So that's my guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
Along with, I've got loads of guilty pleasures.
I have
The New Adventures of Superman, the US. Can you hear those WhatsApp messages coming in, Crown?
No.
Oh, no, okay, that's all right, sorry. So someone has decided to, just WhatsApp me while I'm on the phone, Skyping you, so I apologise for that. Do you know what I'm doing right now? I'm going to paint you a gorgeous domestic picture of my life here in Dublin. I am ironing my bed sheets.
Oh.
Yes,
that's
I'm ironing.
normal day life.
Outside. I've just made myself a cup of tea, and I'm here ironing and chatting to you in Sweden.
Yeah,
it's a very exciting life, you know, working in 2FM.
Yeah. Well, like, why did you want to get into radio?
Do you know what, Cram? And this is no word of a lie. I completely and utterly fell into radio. And that is, I fell into radio. Chris was always interested in radio. He was always, you know, he was kind of an anorak from a young age, you know. I loved listening to the radio. I loved, you know, particular DJs. You know, I loved particular shows and stuff like that. But I went to college and I did a master's in journalism because I wanted to write.
Yeah.
And during that course, I got put into a radio group, and you know, I was like, oh God, I kind of like radio or whatever. Yeah. And then I got my placement in RTE. So I got a 3-month placement in RTE with the News at 1, which is the show on RTE Radio 1. Now it's all politics and it's kind of serious stuff, you know. Yeah. And I did that for 3 months, and I was like, oh God, I don't know, do I like that? You know, everyone's so serious and it's so depressing, and it's, you know, it's kind of, you know, it's cutting edge stuff that's happening in Ireland, whatever. But I think I was just very young, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do, you know. So then this job came up for this radio station called iRadio, and I was like, Asha, look, I might as well try. I'm finished my master's. I'm kind of living at home with mum and dad.
Yeah.
I'll give it a shot. So I got the job as a producer of a talk show there, which is hilarious because, I mean, producing, I didn't know what I was doing. I still don't know what I'm doing.
Okay.
But I got the job anyway, and then I worked with this guy for 6 months. And then he got sick. And one day they were like, okay, Ciara, this guy called Chris Green is going to do the show. And I was like, oh, right, okay, cool. And Chris came in, and I think it was like the 23rd of February 2009 or something like that. Because I remember we were talking about it on the show recently. The two of us just clicked. And literally that is it. I mean, like, we've worked on our stuff for the past 6 years, but foundation was there.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, we've worked hard to kind of do the show that we do. And I started talking, and then they wanted me talking with Chris, and Chris talking to me, and then it just kind of evolved into the show that it is today, you know. And now they can't shut me up talking, you know.
Well, you're two people that don't really want to shut up talking, and
No,
that's
well,
good
that's
for
true.
a radio show.
True. I guess it probably is, Crown.
Yeah.
So I really fell into it. I really fell into it. I never expected to be part of a radio show where there's a male presenter and a female presenter. Never thought that I would be the female presenter. I guess I thought I'd always kind of work in the background, but for whatever reason, myself and Chris, we work. You know, we work together. There's kind of no denying that. And it's just kind of evolved into the show that you hear now on RTè2FM, and it's great, and I love it. You know, it's a really unorthodox job. It's you know, it's not a job I thought I'd ever have. You know, because I never wanted to be a radio jock. You know, I never wanted to be a DJ.
Yeah.
But yes, here I find myself, you know, talking about stuff on the radio.
Yeah.
You know. So that's it, really.
Yeah, I.
And it's also handy that Chris's first name begins at C and my first name begins at C. You know, it's like we were meant to be together. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Getting like that connection with someone is really hard to find.
Oh, it's rare. It's really, really rare.
Yeah, I personally struggle with that because I work better with other people.
Me too.
I've done several solo podcasts, but feel like it's so much harder to, like, some people have that, like, they can just keep talking and continually entertain people just by themselves, but I don't have that. I work with other people.
I would be so bored doing a show on my own, like, honestly. And you get this from people as well, going, Ciara, now would you not like your own show? And I keep on saying, no, I don't want my own show.
It's so hard.
How boring would it be to sit in studio with absolutely nobody? I'm on my own so much of the time anyway. Why on earth would I want to be in the studio on my own? That's like, sometimes that'll be the only time that I'll talk to somebody all day long. It's when I go into work and I'm sitting in the studio with Chris. And it's like, oh God, I haven't been talking to anybody in like, I don't know, 14 hours.
Talk your head off.
Yeah, exactly. I'm exactly like you, Cran. I need to work in a team. I need to kind of talk to people and you know, just kind of just be in other people's company and kind of what's that word, kind of, I'm not going to say bang off them, because if Chris listens to this,
work off them, sort of. It's more like,
it's probably more appropriate, isn't it, if I say that?
Yeah.
Buzz off them and stuff like that. You know?
Yeah,
it's way more stimulating, I find, anyway.
Yeah, I've a couple, like, some people that I work better with, but like my friend Caesar, who lives in Los Angeles, like, it's 9-hour time difference, and like, we have always wanted to work more together, but like, the time zone that it is, like, it's impossible. So like, it's certain people I do work well with, but I don't know, it's hard to find the one that's like that you have that connection with, that you and Chris have on the radio. So yeah, I've one day maybe I will find that, and then
of course you will. Sure, look, it was the last thing that I ever expected. I'm sure it was the last thing Chris ever expected, you know. But you know, for however long it lasts, I mean, the only thing about radio is, I think that when two people don't work on air, you can hear it straight away.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
because it comes out, like,
Yeah.
if you don't like somebody, it's going to come out on air. It's going to it's going to manifest its way in some way.
Yeah.
You know,
It's the same thing.
If you're on national airwaves with someone, you need to really trust somebody.
Yeah.
And you really need to kind of go, okay, this person has my back. He's not going to put me in any kind of situation that I'm uncomfortable with.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the same thing you can see on YouTube as well, for people who do watch a lot of stuff on YouTube. There is, like, if you're not genuine, people will see it directly and instantly, because
completely. And I agree with you, you know.
It works better, like on TV you can probably more get away with it, but radio and YouTube and that sort of stuff, like, you can instantly spot if people don't like each other, or like are not genuine, because like after a while you just, like, it's sort of like people that's not genuine, usually you get bored with them, is my feeling. And
no, I agree with you. So, Cran, you have me on your podcast. Is there anything that you've ever wanted to ask me?
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's.
Ask me. No, seriously, ask me.
Yeah. But,
I'm sitting here in my apartment, ironing away. I'm gonna make myself a cup of tea, another cup of tea now, actually. So go for it. Ask me anything.
Oh, damn.
And believe it or not, people don't get to ask me anything. So like,
I'm
a very privileged position.
Yeah. Like, the thing is, like, always when you get to that point, you're like, oh, now I have the opportunity to ask anything I want.
Okay.
And then you're like, okay, what do I want to know, actually?
Okay, well, Cran, let me tell you a little secret, okay?
Okay.
I had an unbelievable day yesterday, okay? I had one of those days where I woke up and I was like, okay, today's going to be a little bit weird because I'm potentially going to meet Julie Andrews later. Now, Julie Andrews, of course, is Mary Poppins, and she was in The Sound of Music, and she won a Golden Globe and an Oscar, and she's a Hollywood darling, and she's a lady, and I've been watching her since I was a kid, you know?
Yeah.
So myself and Brian M. Lloyd, you know, he's our movie guy.
Yes.
And he's just like the sweetest person in the whole entire world. And we went down together to do the red carpet, because I was in Dublin for the weekend, and the red carpet was on for the Jameson Dublin Film Festival, and there was a special screening of The Sound of Music, and Julie Andrews was going to be there.
Yeah.
So I went down with Brian anyway, and we were kind of waiting on the red carpet. And I'd never done a red carpet thing before, so I wasn't really quite sure. I'm not one of those people that can stick a microphone in somebody's face, which is a little bit kind of worrying in the job that I work in, you know.
Yeah,
because I'd be kind of shy, actually, in a lot of ways. But anyway, I went down with Brian, and next thing, Julie Andrews hits the carpet, and I'm like, I start freaking out. I'm like, Brian, oh my god! I was like, there's Julie Andrews. I got completely and utterly starstruck, and I could see her like moving up the crowd. And we had planned to do this whole thing where I would say, hi, I'm Ciara from 2FM. You know, you're very welcome to Dublin. Listen, you know, Julie, we work with a guy called Chris who has openly admitted that he's never seen Mary Poppins and The Sound of Music, and what would you say to him? But instead, I just got really, really nervous, so Brian had to take over. And Brian was like, hi, we work on a show, and, you know, with a guy called Chris Green, and he's, you know, and she was such a darling, she was so sweet, and she's like, is he just going out of his way to be difficult, you know?
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, he's really awkward. And then Brian kind of looked at me to ask her a question, and I just went, what was your favorite song in The Sound of Music?
Yeah.
And she said Edelweiss, but like I got to ask Julie Andrews a question, and I asked her what was her favorite song to sing in The Sound of Music. What a shit question! Come on, like, you know. But literally, and thank God Brian was there, because you know Brian took over or whatever. And I was so starstruck, and she was just standing right in front of me, like I was within, you know, a hand's reach from her. And all I could do was just kind of stand there and stare at her, because I don't think I ever believed that Julie Andrews would be standing in front of me. Like, never in my wildest dreams did I think I would ever be in the situation where I got to ask her a question. So I said, what was your favorite song in The Sound of Music? And when I was saying it, I was like, Ciara, this is so lame. This is so lame. What are you doing? Ask her another amazing question, you know. We only, in fairness, we only got about a minute with her, and then she was kind of moved on down the red carpet. And I was so starstruck afterwards, and Brian kind of looked at me, and I was like, I just met Julie Andrews. And he was like, Ciara, you okay? And I was like, not really. And he's like, Ciara, you about to cry? And I was like, no. And then it was a bigger realization, because I was like, oh my God, I am never going to be able to meet Roger Federer.
Okay.
I kind of thought that I was cool. I thought that I was like a person that wouldn't get starstruck. I thought that I would be, very professional. And I was professional, but I just asked a really lame question. And, it was just a realization in my head going, I'm never going to be able to meet Roger Federer because I will not be able to concentrate enough to ask him the questions that I would love to ask him,
Yeah.
And even right now, if he was standing in front of me, I'd be like...
Not even if you would write the questions down?
No, not even, because I just think... I don't even know what sort of questions I want to ask them. I just kind of admire them as people and as sports people and as actors. I don't really have questions as such for them, you know?
That's the thing, like, why it's hard to, like, for me personally, to run a podcast most of the times, because there are certain people who really, like, good at coming up with questions and that sort of stuff. That's why I used to, like, write down questions and that sort of stuff, but...
I think it's a good guideline. It is a good guideline, if you get stuck or whatever.
Yeah. So now I just have conversations with people and they end up where they end up. And if I don't get, like, asked some stuff that I come up with later, then I will just bring them on in the future again, sort of.
Okay, how about I rephrase it? Okay, how about I rephrase it and say, is there anything you've ever wanted to know about Chris, but you're afraid to ask?
No, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know, Chris is somewhat straightforward, and I sort of get how he is as a person. I understand how he a little bit how he functions.
Are you sure you don't want to? Seriously, I've got loads of dirt on him, like loads of dirt.
You can, share some of it. Welcome to hear any of this said dirt.
Okay, what do you want to know?
What?
Oh, you're too nice, Crown. That's your problem. You're too nice.
What's the worst thing he has done?
The worst thing he has done? The worst thing he has done. Oh God. Yeah, no, I remember. He went through my purse. Well, actually, in fairness, the receipt was beside my purse. And he went on air and he asked everybody how my laser hair therapy removal was going.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was about 3 years ago, and I still get people asking me about that. So that's one of the worst things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he sees an opportunity maybe for a good.
Oh, completely. I mean, that's why he's as good as he is. You know?
Yeah.
But anyway.
So, like, how did the idea come up with you reading your diaries?
God, it was like 2010 at this. Was it 2010? I can't remember. Myself and Chris were on a daytime show at the time anyway in iRadio. And I can't remember what came up. I genuinely can't. But it was like, hey, why don't we read out some of my, teenage diaries?
Okay.
And I swear to God, it was just one of those things that kind of started from nothing. It was a conversation that meant absolutely nothing. And then about 5 years later, I'm still reading out like my teenage diaries, And I think they're so funny because obviously I'm a lot older now. And they reference back to a time, in the late 90s and, the mid to late 90s and the early 90s. But what I find interesting about Ciara's diary is, do you know what? It doesn't matter what generation it is. It doesn't matter what time frame it is. Yeah. Teenagers all over the world, no matter what era they were born in or whatever, they all have the same thoughts and feelings and doubts. And everything is so much more exaggerated. Like love is like so dramatic,
Yeah.
And you think your life is going to be over and, you're devastated and emotions are so high. And it's simply because teenagers are at that stage where they're feeling these emotions, but they don't know how to deal with them,
Yeah.
And it's not until you get older where you can kind of see that.
Yeah.
So that's why I kind of, in a lot of ways, it's nice that people can relate to Ciara's diaries, whether you're male or female, because as I said, we all had those kind of stupid thoughts. When you kind of look back, like sometimes I look back myself as a teenager and I'm like, and sure, yourself from listening to the diaries, I'm like, oh, Ciara. I think there's a fundamental goodness there, and I think there's a fundamental, I want to make, do right in the world, whatever. But then a lot of it is kind of misplaced kindness, you know?
Yeah.
Of thinking I'm saying and doing the right things because these are the causes that we should be into, and, you know,
Yeah.
this is what's important. And it's not until you get some life experience that where you're like, oh my God, shut up, you Egypt, you know?
Yeah, when I look back at when I was a teenager, I more look back at the fact that I didn't do enough with the time that I was a teenager.
Do you know what, Crown? We could spend our life thinking that, and there's absolutely no point. Every teenager feels exactly the same way. Now, though, you've got overachieving teenagers, which I can't stand.
Yeah, more the fact that like I feel like I should have like more and like it went more to like parties and more like meet more people. Unfortunately, I was much more shyer when I was younger, and it wasn't until like I don't know, I did like I think it was like 2011 now that I decided I didn't want to be a person that was shy and didn't want to do anything really. So yeah,
you can't force these things either. Like people have to grow and evolve and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, and change takes time.
Yeah, completely. I was a ridiculously shy child. Like I wouldn't even say a boo to a goose. I was so quiet. And you know, it wasn't until I kind of hit my teenage years, you know, that I began to kind of start talking, I guess.
Yeah. Like one of my best friends, he spent a whole year in and a third or fourth year without talking. He spent the whole year without talking, and he just like used his fingers and like some people thought that he couldn't even speak. And,
really?
Yeah, and and then nowadays he's a person who likes to party, who meets bunch of people everywhere, and he's like if you like met him like just when we went together in 7th grade, like he was probably at that point shyer than me, and like I was the one that was more like leader of the two of us, and it's like it's so strange to see how some people evolve. And
oh, completely. But sure, look, that's what life is all about, you know.
Yeah,
that is what life is all about. I can't believe he didn't talk for a whole year though.
Yeah.
Did he suffer some sort of trauma or something?
Yeah,
or?
he was. He had problems at home, and like he like fought a lot with his like mother and sister, and so it wasn't until he went like I don't know when he was starting 7th grade he moved to his dad instead because he needed a change because they're like. It wasn't working at all, and so that's when he met me, and everything went better.
He wouldn't shut up talking.
Well, no, he talked a lot then. So
he found a friend basically.
Yes.
Yeah. And you're very close to your sister, from what I can see.
Yes.
I was listening to a bit of your podcast with Chris, actually, and you were talking about your sister. And you know what I think is such a nice trait about a person? I think it's always a nice trait when someone can speak nicely and highly of their siblings, especially their female siblings if they're a male, because sisters are kind of your first introduction to girls, like, and the way you treat your sister is how how you end up treating girls for the rest of your days.
Yes.
You know.
I love both of my sisters. They're one the middle of the three of us age-wise. She is like we hang out a lot. We're like we hang out more as friends than really as siblings, sort of. And also I think it helps to like she's like they're my half sisters, so I have to like if we would have like lived together all the time, then of course it would probably be more like the fighting that I see other brothers and sisters have.
Do.
Yeah, and we don't.
So you never lived with them, Cran?
No, not really. I live there like every other weekend.
Okay.
But since my school is here in Malmö and they live outside the town, so like for me to like it was always a problem. I couldn't really live there at some point. Like I would have done that. I know what you mean. So I would have like stayed there more than like weekend or so if it weren't for the fact that I live outside and I would have to take a bus that takes like, I don't know, 40 50 minutes to get to school, and I hate that. So
Yeah,
so
no, that sounds like hell. That sounds like hell, so it does. I have a busy week this week. I have to move apartment.
ooh,
Yeah, I have to move apartment, so I'm going to spend the rest of the evening before I go into work now packing boxes and throwing stuff out, and hence that's why I'm doing all the ironing and stuff like that. But I think it's a good time to move, I guess. Spring is a good time to move and all the rest. They say spring clean and all. So it's kind of daunting though, moving in with people that you don't know all over again.
So moving in with people you don't know, okay, that's well. Then you get to meet new people at least. So
I know, but like I know that, and everyone's like, oh, it's such a positive, and you might meet a new social circle. But I'm kind of one of those people, like I don't like change. Like I've been living in
yeah,
this
I'm the same.
apartment now.
I'm exactly the same.
Yeah, I've been living in this
I'm terrified
apartment
of the Vancouver trip because of it. Like I'm so used to not like doing changes. So I'm like, holy fuck.
Crown, I promise
I
you.
will love it. I know I will love it, but it's just like trying to. That's why I've told everyone about my trip. Like, like I could have been like tell few people close to me and that sort of stuff, but I tell everybody because then people keep asking me, and then I have to respond. I have to like be committed to this thing because
yeah, no, I get it.
I can't chicken out, and that's what
kind
I've
of
done
how I
before.
feel about the marathon that I'm running.
Yeah, marathon. Yeah, like I for me, running right now has been kind of hard because like when you don't have a goal, it's really hard. Plus, I don't know. I like running to like get started, but then I would like to like I used to play football a lot before, and
what's the name of the guy? Is it Freddie Lumberg? Is he Swedish?
Yeah, Freddie Youngberg.
Oh God, he's so hot.
Yeah, he used to do Calvin Klein commercials as well.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Oh, who else? The other guy. Oh God, I love him. Eric Starsgaard.
Yeah.
Did I say that right?
Yeah, it's Alexander or yeah.
Oh, sorry, he plays Eric in True Blood.
Yeah, Alexander Skarsgård.
And is he part like of a really famous dynasty family?
Yes, Skarsgård
in Sweden?
family. Stellan Skarsgård is the one that's made he was the one that got famous here in Sweden and then got famous and then his most of his children started to do acting and stuff. So yeah, the three of the sons actually do quite well. You have Alexander, that's True Blood, and then you have Gustav, that's in Vikings.
Okay.
And
are you part Viking?
Is
that like asking an Irish person? Are they part?
I
Celtic
don't know how like. If we go back generations, I would probably being part like more Danish, but I don't know if we go back that it probably would say either like Viking or like Germania. I don't know, or like
you absolutely wreaked havoc in Ireland anyway. Just to let you know, you and the old Vikings and the old Normans. And do you know what, Crown? I think you'd probably be a nice Viking. I don't think you'd kind of pillage the villages and steal the women and all the riches in the little, towns in Ireland. So do you know what? I'm going to give you a free pass. I don't think if you were a Viking in a past life or if your ancestors were Vikings, I'd imagine they were probably the nicer sort of Vikings.
Yeah, probably. I don't know what the nice Viking would be like. Oh, what did she do? I don't know what's happened. But something. The call got paused.
Crown?
What the hell happened? You paused.
Somebody rang me.
Oh, okay. I was like, yeah, sure. Like, I was like, why is it paused? Okay, yeah, sure.
Sorry, somebody rang me, so I had to wait for it to ring through. Sorry.
It's all right.
Can you stop that on this app? Like, how's that possible? Because I've been able to hear my messages and... Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, I have no idea. Actually,
Go on, what were you saying?
I had a problem when I had before, like, I had Skype on my phone as well. Mm-hmm. And that made it so that I couldn't accept calls on my Skype on my computer. with the same account, and I have no idea. Like it was so I had to remove Skype from my phone, and now it works fine. So I don't know why. So I was going to say, like, I don't know what would a nice Viking be. It would be like a Viking that stayed in Sweden or stayed in Scandinavia.
Or a Viking that was kind of like a good leader and, you know, didn't want to harm the women and children and men around him. That's what I think a good Viking leader would be.
Yeah. But also Viking, the women also, some of them also fought as well, like could fight and that sort of stuff. Like it's a kind of different, like you see certain, like when it used to be like equal, and then southern places of the world. Maybe that's why Scandinavia is so better when it comes more to equality. Maybe because we have it.
Yeah, maybe. Ireland used to be like that as well, though. There used to be all these, like, you know, Celtic female warriors and Celtic male warriors, and everyone just threw paint on their bodies and had massive orgies. And Ireland sounded like it was great crack back in the day. Yeah. But it all kind of went a bit haywire then with the whole, you know, religion thing.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Religion.
Yeah, we won't get into religion.
No. I don't know if I think I addressed some parts of it a while ago when I in one of my first podcasts or something like that. Yeah.
So Annie, you definitely there's no questions that you would like to specifically ask me, or?
No, I don't. Like,
do you know what? I laugh though when I'm on Twitter, and I'll put up a tweet, and you'll be like, Ciara, you're having one of those movie moments again.
Yeah, I just
people,
run
like,
with it.
seriously, like, if I didn't put that on Twitter, people wouldn't actually believe that I do have those sort of moments. Like, I have just
sort of
bizarre
would.
situations happen to me when I'm on my own the whole time, and I'm like, nobody would actually believe me, you know, that happened, but it did. Like, it genuinely did.
Yeah.
You know, and there's you know, like, randomly, I was walking down Grafton Street the last day, and I took, this was maybe 2-3 months back.
Yeah.
And I was walking down the street, and the next thing, who was standing right in front of me but Cillian Murphy, the actor.
Yeah.
And I'm with my friend, and the two of us were linking, and she was like blabbing away, and he just kind of smiled, and I kind of smiled at him. He was with his family, you know. Yeah. And I walked by, and she was like, "Oh my God, you were not listening to me, Ciara. Are you listening to a word that I was saying?" And I was like, me and Cillian Murphy just smiled at each other, and she was like, "What?" She said, "What planet are you on?" And I was like, "I swear to God." I was like, "Look," and she kind of looked behind her, and she could see Cillian Murphy walking off. Yeah. You know, and that was kind of my only proof for, you know, just other little things like that, like just stuff that happens that I'm like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing, you know. There was, for the time, I remember being in a coffee shop, and the waiter was really, really hot. Yeah. And I was eating a bagel. It was like an Italian bagel. Oh God, it was so good. Now that I think about it, I really wanted a bagel. But
usually
so that was all good. And he came over and he was like, "Hi, how are you?" And I said hello, but the piece of bagel that was in my mouth fell out of my mouth and down on my top. Yeah. You know, and I was like, oh my God, like that, but that legitimately happened. Like, yeah. It's like one of those really awkward girls in a movie, and you're like, no, this sort of stuff does happen in real life. So I will continue to have movie moments and keep you informed, Crown. How about that?
Like you seem like the person who tries not to do it, but end up doing crazy stuff.
Completely. I remember our boss. He's, you know, he'd be kind of a senior member of management, let's say, you know, where we work. And I remember I walked up to him. So let's say his name was like John Smith. Okay. Yeah. So I walked up to him, and instead of saying, "Hello, Mr. Smith," I said, "Hello, Mr. John." And I was like, it was one of those moments where I was like, "Ciara, what did you just?" And he just kind of looked at me, and I was like, I mean, Mr. Smith. But I went, "Hello, Mr. John," like, you know, kind of like, "Hello there," you know. And I was like, oh God, Ciara, like, this is just like, what are you doing?
I probably have similar moments.
Mm-hmm. Maybe a lot of people out there do. No one is probably. Nobody is open
I also
about it.
try to not get into that sort of situations, but I always end up in that sort of situation, even though I try not to, and therefore it ends up happening.
Like, see, this is it though. This is it. It's like trying to, my friends, the girls are like, Ciara, you have to go out and you have to flirt with guys. And I'm like, nuh-uh, because I always end up, like, I'll tell you one story before I go, and this is a story that I've told on the show before. And it was like, I'd met this guy at a party, and the two of us had kind of chatted all night, and then I had left. And a couple of nights later, I was out in this nightclub. This is when I was in college, and I saw him in the nightclub. And he was like, hi, how are you? And I was like, hi. And he was like, did you enjoy the party the last night? I said, yes, I did. And I was like, oh, by the way, you forgot something at the party? And he kind of looked at me confused. And he was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, my number. And then there was just this like really awkward kind of silence between the two of us. And I was standing there, and in my mind I was like, Ciara, why did you think that was a good idea? That did not sound smooth. That did not sound cool. Oh, and he was just kind of standing there. He was looking everywhere but at me, you know.
Yeah.
So then I just made an excuse and I hid in the bathroom then for the night because I never wanted to see him again. I saw there later he got married though. So, you know, I'm glad it worked out for him. Yeah, so that's why I don't flirt, Crown. So there you go.
Well, like, if you just, like, talk to people, I mean, like, yeah, I feel like it end up, like, you will meet someone. I believe in you. Like,
You sound like my parents, Crown.
Well, I believe in myself as well, and one day we'll.
We will. Sure, look, I would truly believe what's for you won't pass you, you know. And
Yes.
life is all about timing as well. And, you know, you can meet the right person, but at the wrong time.
Yeah, that's true.
And you can meet the wrong person at the right time. So it's kind of one of those things you just kind of have to go with the deck of cards that you were dealt, you know. And just try and be a nice person.
Yeah.
And sure, see what happens, you know.
Yeah.
And and that's that. But anyway, now, Crown, I gotta go because I have lots of touring out to do. I have lots of boxes to pack.
Yeah, moving
I have lots
stuff.
of ironing to continue doing. And I've lots of tea to drink.
Yes.
And then I have to also think about what wrap-off we're going to do tonight. Any recommendations of a wrap-off that we could do?
I should have written it down. I had an
I'm
idea.
doing so badly in the wrap-offs for the past couple of months. Do you notice that?
Yeah, I don't know why.
What is going on?
Yeah.
No, Crown, we've been doing these wrap-offs now for about 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And like, okay, yeah, it was really, really bad when we started. But then I had a good 10 months of being really, really good.
Yeah, I thought
since I've
last
come to
year you were
2FM
good. Yeah.
No, since I've come to 2FM, my wrap-offs have been dismal. It's
Yeah.
really weird. Maybe I've lost my rapping mojo. But I don't know how to find it again, you know?
Yeah, I just feel like last couple of weeks it hasn't really been that.
No, it's like
well.
I'm not feeling it. It's like
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, whatever, wrap-offs, you know?
Yeah.
And also maybe it's because people are so mean too. It could be
Yeah,
that.
like I think also people enjoy, especially like Chris gets so salty all the time, so that like it's
He's not a very good loser, is he?
no, so like.
And you know what's so annoying? He is so good musically.
Yeah.
Seriously. Like,
Yeah.
he has an ear for music that, for a guy who's not a trained musician,
Yeah.
he has got one hell of an ear for music. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, he could if he weren't like in radio, he probably would be some sort of.
Oh, I
music.
definitely think he'd be, like, producing something, like, musically, like, 100%, or he'd be playing, like, instruments, or, you know,
Yeah.
just, like, he is very, very musically in tune. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But
Yes, I won't keep you forever.
thank you. I've
so-
got ironing to do.
Yes.
You know, I've got ironing to do, Crown.
Yes, it's important. Yes, so yeah, plug your stuff. It's easier if, like, I used
stuff.
to.
Oh yeah, the show, is it?
Yeah, and also Twitter, Instagram, all that. Like, it's good if
Okay.
people know where to find you.
Okay, well, for the Swedish and Scandinavian listeners of this podcast, you'll be able to find us online, RTE.ie. The show's called Chris and Ciara. It's on every night from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. That's Sunday to Thursday. I'm Ciara. Hello. My Twitter is @IamCiaraKing, and my Instagram is Instagram/Ciara King, which is CIARAKING. I'm trying to be Insta famous, Crown.
Yes. Yes, working hard on that.
Well, it seems like every goddamn blogger is Insta famous, so like, why can't I? You know?
Yeah, I started on Instagram mostly because I want to use it when I go to Canada, because I can share it directly with both Twitter and Facebook. So
yeah, exactly.
So it's easier to do that. So I can get to both of my Twitter and Facebook friends and stuff.
Yeah. No, I get it. I just like Instagram because I like that you can make the photos pretty, you know?
Yeah.
I kind of be into like arty stuff as well.
Yeah, I also like Instagram because the photos with my camera becomes better with Instagram than with the normal
completely.
That
is
camera.
why. That is why Instagram has all those amazing filters, and that's why it's so popular, you know?
Yeah, like my camera is really bad, so like for me to use Instagram, I noticed directly like, oh, holy crap, this is really much better than.
Oh, completely. Sure, look, everything on the internet is a lie. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yes. So for my stuff, I'm Story of Crown pretty much everywhere, and I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, I'm also on Tumblr, but I never use it, so that's a bust certainly. I thought I would be using it more, but I'm not. But
that's kind of how I felt about Pinterest.
Yeah. So and for the upcoming week, when it comes to this podcast, I have no idea. I have nothing planned at all, and it's probably because of not knowing where I'm going and all the trip stuff. That's hard to really plan a lot. But so I have no idea what's upcoming on the channel. So people, just look out, and I will update most likely on Twitter. So follow me on there to find my stuff. So thank you, Ciara, for coming on.
Okay. You're very welcome. You're not gonna shout anything abusive at me or anything like that. You're not gonna call me a fucking nude asshole or anything. No.
He has himself to blame for that one.
Do you know that we used that as a promo on the radio station?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, we did. We used it as a promo on the radio station, and it sounded absolutely. Obviously, we had to bleep out you saying fucking.
Yeah.
So like at one stage, on 2FM in Ireland, which is a national radio station, the promo for our show, it was like Chris and Ciara, and then it was like, I'm saying something like, Chris, of all people, you managed to piss off this guy who asked you, this Swedish guy from Crown who asked you to come on, and Chris is like, I know, it's hilarious, and then all you can hear is you saying, fucking nude asshole.
Oh God.
And everyone found it absolutely hilarious. So thank you, because you helped us out that week. Great promo for the show.
And I couldn't stop laughing when you two were reacting to it because I had forgot about me doing that. And Chris just mentioned, this is like when he tweeted out the podcast, it's like, from this moment on, it's hilarious. I'm like, what did I do? I don't remember doing anything.
I think we have it as a sound bite as well, Crown.
Yeah, I know you have it as a sound bite too. I know he saved it.
It's so funny. Like, he gets such, literally Chris replayed it and laughed to himself. He thought it was the funniest thing ever.
Yeah. Well,
so thank you. You've become a soundbite in our show.
Yeah,
that's pretty amazing, Craig.
Yeah, it's a little bit unbelievable. I play amateur football, so my team mates, I put up the link for I put it up on YouTube, that part where YouTube reacts to it. So I put it up there because I thought it was hilarious that it's so unreal to have I was they played my stuff on an Irish radio station, and so I linked it to my Facebook, where I don't normally link stuff because I don't know.
Yeah.
So a lot of my Swedish Facebook teammates are now you're famous and stuff. Yeah, sure, totally.
That is so funny, Cram. Well, thank you, and
I noticed that I swear way less than I if you just a year 2 years ago I swore much more. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know why I stopped more.
Do you know what? Sometimes it's good to have an old curse, but then there's a lot of times I find when I get nervous I curse, which I don't like. I really don't like. And there's so many other words in the vocabulary to use than curse words. But I get it. Sometimes it's really good to just just shout one or say one. And I think when people are angry or frustrated, it can be, you know, therapeutic, let's say.
Yeah.
But I think, especially with Irish people in general conversation, a lot of it is effing this and effing that and effing that and just shitting and the shiting and you're like, oh God. I mean,
well, that's like.
The older I get, I like to think that I'm beginning to curse less, but then I find myself in a nervous situation, and then I'm just like throwing out expletives left, right, and center. And in my brain, I'm like, Ciara, shut up! Why are you effing and blinding to this person who just asked you how you were?
People haven't seen me pissed off that much. If I get pissed off, I can swear really a lot, and like I feel like because you two don't know me that well, you don't know were surprised to like hear me swear that
it was
much.
Hilarious. It was absolutely hilarious.
and me listening back, I almost really like, oh my God, I almost sound like I am actually pissed off. That's why I thought it was so hilarious, because like people who don't know me is gonna think, holy fuck, Chris actually pissed him off that much.
And Chris got so much delight out of it too.
Yeah.
Oh God, funny. But anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, Crown, I gotta go.
Yeah. I'm just gonna outro here quickly. Yeah, so people follow us on all the stuff that we plugged, and thank you all for watching, listening, whatever you've been doing. Bye bye.